What's going on, everyone? This is Steve Larsen, and you're listening to a special episode of Sales Funnel Radio.
Welcome to Sales Funnel Radio, where you'll learn marketing strategies to grow your online business using today's best internet sales funnels. And now, here's your host, Steve Larsen.
All right, guys. Hey, I am stoked about today. So periodically, it wasn't as frequently as of late, but recently I actually have been going through and I listened to a lot of the questions people are submitting on salesfunnelradio.com. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, if you go to salesfunnelradio.com and scroll down, kind of at the bottom right there's a green button, and if you click that, you can record a question to me straight off of your browser, an actual audio file, and it emails that over to me. And I go and I kind of vet through them to see which ones would apply most to kind of the group, and then I can toss them on here. So anyways, we got one of those today though, and this is to a guy named Matt who has a special skill with the Rubik's Cube. So anyways, I'm going to play the question here because there's a lot of elements to this, and I want to make sure that everybody understands clearly how awesome of a position Matt is actually in this. But I don't think he knows that.
Hey Steve, it's Matt here. Hope you're well, dude. I've got a question I was hoping you could help me with. I've got an idea for a product or a company which is teaching people how to solve the Rubik's Cube. But I don't want to be known as like the Rubik's Cube guy or the puzzle guy. Is that silly to think like that? Or also, how do I know if it's a product that people actually want before I finally pull the trigger and get something out there? Cheers, dude.
Hey Matt, thanks so much for the question. When I heard that, I think my eyes rolled back in my head and I was like, oh yeah, this is the question. I love this question. Great question. Hey, first off, just know that you guys can make a course off of anything, okay? No joke. And it doesn't need to be like, I don't know, if you got a special skill, whatever it is. It's funny because reading the book like Expert Secrets, I think sometimes people might think that you've got to be some highfalutin, suit and tie wearing, briefcase carrying expert, and that's actually not true at all. I don't know if you've, Matt, I don't know if you've seen funnelhackinglive.com. Let's see, or Funnel Hacking Live. What was it? It was, Funnel Hacking Live 2016. There was a guy, I can't remember his name, but he's known as the jump guy. And he literally teaches people how to jump. No joke. And they travel the world. He and his wife and his kids at the time had not had a home in like 5 years or something like that. Huge amount. Because they like to go travel around and they live like kings. And he literally teaches people how to jump. And that's what he does. And he's taking that on. He's like, yeah, he's the jump guy. And so, I mean, basketball players, athletes, whoever, if they want to learn how to jump higher, he teaches them how to do that. And there's a little course that he sells on it. There's a lady, I'm trying not to use as many names, hopefully they're okay with me sharing these stories. There was a lady at one of the first FAT events that we ever did, the Funnel Hackathon event. And she was there, she was sitting kind of in the back left. And, I remember where she was sitting. And as we were teaching, and, I was on stage there and we were sharing all these different strategies and stuff. She goes off and she makes like $1.3 million on like a $27 product in the next, it hasn't even been a year. It's been like, I don't know, 8 months, 6 months, something like that. I'm not good with months. I always have to like say the months in order in my name to figure out what they are. Anyway, so that's the whole point though. It doesn't necessarily need to be expensive, although it's you certainly will, how many $27 products do you need to sell to really make a dent in your wallet? Quite a few, which is why I usually tell people to start with a $1,000 product. But it doesn't need to be something that if you see a spot where you're like, hey, I've got an expertise here. Don't feel like it's discredited because it's the Rubik's Cube guy, right? I will tell you, I still cannot solve mine. Okay, I'm holding it right now. In fact, when he first sent that first message to me, I was walking home in the snow. I like that, so I was. So I was walking home in the snow, just like, and I was listening to it, and I was like, man, I would pay for your course right now. I don't know. I don't know how to finish solving this thing. I can get like 3/4 of the way through, and I cannot get the last like layer. And I don't know, my head doesn't naturally work like that. And so anyway, what's funny is, but I've always wanted to learn how to do it. So I was laughing when he said that, like, do you think people would like pay for that? Do you think X, Y, and Z or whatever? And Matt had reached out to me previously, so everyone knows. And I said, hey, would you ask that for the podcast? Because I think people would, benefit from it. And the answer is 100%. One of the easiest ways, so you asked several questions there. You said, I don't want to be known as the cube guy, Rubik's Cube guy, or the puzzle guy. And I get that. That's fine. In order to create a mass movement, you know what I mean? You certainly would probably need to take on that persona just a little bit. But I mean, if you're just trying to toss something out there for some extra cash flow coming in, like that's totally fine. That's 100% fine. What I would, and so I don't know. I don't know that you necessarily need to take on, hey, I'm the cube guy, I'm the Rubik's Cube guy, the puzzle guy, but it certainly will help you the more you're willing to do that. Okay. There are tons of YouTube videos of people trying to figure out how to do it. And it's honestly one of the easiest ways to figure out if it's going to sell really well, right? People go on YouTube for like two reasons. One, to be entertained and distracted. And the second is like for how-to stuff, how to do this, how to fix that. It's like tutorial-based things, right? And when I actually started first launching the product that allowed me to quit my job, right? That's actually one of the ways that I knew that it was actually going to sell so well, is because there's tons of Facebook stuff, there's tons of YouTube tutorials, there's tons of YouTube stuff. And since it's such a hot market that YouTube basically told me it was, right? I knew that it was a safe place for me to go launch my thing in. As long as it was a new opportunity and I was following the Expert Secrets model, I would be able to actually be successful with it. Okay, so that's one of the easiest, fastest ways for you to actually make sure that you could actually, sell with it. So it certainly is. It's probably big enough though. I mean, you could go check out like semrush.com and type in other Rubik's Cube people who are selling that. I mean, there's got to be people making several grand a month at least, selling Rubik's Cube education courses. I'm sure that there are. So I don't think it's more. I actually don't think the question is it big enough? I think the biggest question you should ask yourself is, how will I defer myself from everybody else? How will I be different? How can I create a new opportunity out of somebody else who's teaching how to do Rubik's Cube stuff, somebody else who's teaching how to do something that's similar? How can I make myself different and differentiate enough so that it feels like a brand new opportunity, right? And so maybe you toss in, hey, here is, and part of that is you could just have a cooler offer than everybody else. It's not necessarily one of the strongest forms of creating a new opportunity, but by just changing up the delivery of stuff that already exists, you actually could get yourself into a new opportunity enough that you actually could create, good cash flow from it. Here's what I mean. So you could just use, I would use the stack slide from Expert Secrets. And the stack slide, if you guys don't know what it is, it's kind of a model and a map for how to create new opportunities. And so what I would do is use that. And the very first step in the stack slide is, it's your main thing. So it could be an info product, right? And let's say you have, let's say you've created and you've adapted this course for, beginners, kind of intermediary and advanced people. So they can get in, they can do their own wherever they are. If they know how to and they want it faster, or if they have no idea what they're doing like me, they want to get in and just kind of learn, like you have place for each one of them. So that's kind of the first thing is the main product. Then it's like a tool. What tool could you hand out to them to accelerate how they use your main masterclass, the first thing, the info product. And man, I would ship out Rubik's Cubes, ship out a trainer's cube and then also like a speed cube or something like that, so that people can go through and do your whole thing with them. And then think through like, hey, well, what are the other beliefs someone's going to have about this that they think that are real, but that aren't, what are those things? And it's pretty awesome when you start thinking through that, that way. First, let's think through vehicle. Okay. So what are all the other gurus who teach Rubik's Cube stuff missing that you could go out and throw rocks at? Okay. That's like the first question for bonus number 1 on the stack slide. Okay. You're throwing it at the vehicle that currently exists in the marketplace. What's the current vehicle? If everyone else is trying to get better at the Rubik's Cube, if everyone is trying to get out there and say, hey, yeah, this is the thing, what is it that you can throw rocks at to help people realize wait a second, all these other gurus out there, I'm shaking the cube like you can see it. All these other gurus out there are missing this one step, these things right here that lets you throw a rock at the current vehicles inside the market, right? And create some product, whether it's info product or whatever, something you ship out to, maybe a workbook or something, I don't know, that lets you differentiate yourself from everything else that's available out there, right? And this is part of the first way that you create a new opportunity. Then he has to say, okay, internal beliefs. What are the internal beliefs someone has? Oh, it's going to take forever, right? This is for someone who's mechanically minded. I'm not mechanically minded. Maybe this is for somebody, and you start thinking through, and if you don't know what those things are, you can either ask the market, which I certainly invite you to do, but you also probably have an idea of what the internal false beliefs are of people who want to get faster at the Rubik's Cube. The third thing, though, is the external beliefs. So external beliefs. What would somebody blame? What are the things that others would blame for reasons they're not being successful? Okay, it usually has something to do with time, money, and resources. Oh, I can't, they're pointing away from themselves. I can't do this because of that, because of that, because of that. Okay? It's no longer about themselves as much. It's, well, I don't have the time, I don't have the money, I don't have the resources. Usually somewhere around those three. So start thinking through what those are, and that's how you put together an offer that makes you different from everybody else that's inside the marketplace. And then one of the easiest ways to start testing it, man, I would record some super cool tutorials, and I would just put them on YouTube for free, and I would see what the response is. And in the description on YouTube, this is literally how I launched my course, by the way. In the description, I would say, hey, if you want more of this kind of thing, or if you want to figure out phase 2, like, you could do is you could show them, hey, look, here's the fastest way to solve the first row of a Rubik's Cube. Heard from a Rubik's Cube master himself or something like that. You go through and say, hey, look, if you want more of this, go to, I don't know, solvemyrubik'scube.com, or I don't know, whatever URL is. And in there, now you've captured their email address, right? You've qualified someone who's interested. You've qualified an opt-in. Now it's time to qualify a buyer. So you go through and you teach them this stuff, and you're teaching them for free, on YouTube. Then you teach them a little bit more at the beginning of a funnel, and then you say, hey, do you want this thing for, I don't know, $10, $15, and it's the full course or whatever. But then there's an upsell, and there's a bump, and there's a downsell, and you could have this really cool tripwire funnel in the front, and quite literally be able to. Anyway, so the answer is absolutely. Absolutely, and that's what I would do with it. Is I would go through and I would create it that way, and I would keep it somehow figure out how to split between, maybe you don't have $1,000 course on Rubik's cubes, but maybe it is $99. Maybe it's even $500. I mean, I'm known to say no on price points or to say that it won't work or whatever. But figure out how much you do want to get paid per course, and maybe it's something like, as part of the value add or whatever, they get on with you once a week, and it's a live Q&A section, group Q&A, not one-on-one. Charge higher price for one-on-one. But if there's a group Q&A for like a mid-tier, mid-value ladder area, that would be awesome. That'd be super cool. And because I would love to have asked a few questions for how I was trying to solve this thing at the beginning. I kind of gave up after like a week, but like it was awesome though. And when I saw your thing, I was like, totally, man, I would have paid for that, and you go target ads at people who are buying things like Toys R Us or whatever. And, that certainly, in my opinion, could totally be a viable source of cash flow. And I think could be awesome. And that's the whole point for everyone else who's listening in this. Please understand that it doesn't matter what you're an expert at. Okay. What matters is how well you market it. Okay, and I know I've brought this up before, but it's a quote from Joe Polish. And Joe Polish says, there is no relationship between being good and getting paid. Okay, there's no relationship between being good and getting paid. How many of you out there think and believe and know that you are better than most of your market at what you do? If you're listening to this podcast, I fight that probably all of you guys are better than most of the market at what you do, right? So why, are you or aren't you getting paid how much you think you are worth, right? It's because of Joe Polish. He said, there's no relationship between being good and getting paid. You can be the best coder, the best programmer, the best whatever, But that does not mean you're going to get paid at all. So I love the second part of the quote. The second part of the quote is, there is, however, a huge relationship between being good at marketing and getting paid. Okay? Go learn how to package and sell and market the thing you're good at. It doesn't matter what it is. Okay? There is most likely a market for it. Okay? And what's funny is, if you ever heard I'm sure you guys have heard the term, the riches are in the niches. Funny enough, like, it's true. You're like, what, Rubik's Cube training? Are you serious? Like, are you really telling that guy? Yeah, I'm telling you, you could make a ton of money with this stuff. It's funny to see some of the things people come through and make a whole bunch of money on using ClickFunnels, or they'll come through those doors, and it's like, man, are you serious? I'm overthinking this. That guy made that kind of money with this kind of thing? That's awesome. Fascinating. Huh. And so anyways, absolutely. So think through whatever it is. Don't think your thing is too big or too small or whatever. Okay? Let the market tell you. Take your own opinions out of it, and know that you're not the one that's going to fill your own wallet. Right? It doesn't work that way. So you have no idea. You have no idea. I don't care what I sell as long as it's moral and it sells. It doesn't matter to me. Now, I'd totally sell Rubik's Cube training if I knew how to do that. I have no idea how to do it, though. So tons of power to you, Matt. Anyway, that's what I would do, though. So, gosh, 100%. Anyone else who's listening to this, figure out whatever your thing is. If you're like, I still haven't started or whatever. Like, and if you're having a hard time pinning down what that thing is, start asking people what it is that they think that you're good at. Okay, I did that for a while, literally. I was like, what am I good at? What am I good at? I did that like 3 or 4 years ago. And then when I finally dropped Anchor, I was like, I'm going to try and be the best funnel builder in the world. Am I? Probably not. Of course not. But I know I'm probably one of them. And I've worked super, super, super hard to get to that spot and develop that expertise. And then there's times where I look around, I'm like, crap, I could go sell Rubik's Cube training. Did I overthink that? You know what I mean? Like you guys, you can make ample money. Oh, darn it. It didn't quite put you in 2 Comma Club, but you made several $100,000. Darn. You know what I mean? Anyway. So don't be afraid to marry your thing. Don't be afraid of exposing what it is, and understand that there's probably people out there who are already looking for your expertise. There's probably people out there who are wanting what you do. And then figure out how to market it. It's not good enough to be good at it. You'll never get paid that way. Funny enough, it's the reason why you can buy something on Amazon or somewhere else and it shows up and it's pure crap. It's because they got good at marketing rather than the actual thing, which is a sad reality. That's the sad flip side of it. But that's also where the power of it lies in, what I'm trying to put across. Figure out how to market the thing. How do you package it up? How do you sell it in a way that's different than everyone else in the market, that makes you unique? Blue ocean, new opportunity, something that is not ever seen that's out there before. And it's one of the easiest ways to make a lot of money quickly, marketing a new opportunity from a sub-market that you're taking one step out of. Such small risk. Just that little tiny step out, it's huge. It's the reason I knew I'd be fine with my stuff. I did the exact same things I'm telling you to do. Anyway. All right, guys, I'll talk to you later. Hopefully that helped. And Matt, thank you so much for the question. And if you do choose to go do the Rubik's Cube thing, please let me know. I will buy it.
Thanks for listening to Sales Funnel Radio. Please remember to subscribe and leave feedback. Want to get one of today's best internet sales funnel for free? Go to salesfunnelbroker.com/free funnels to download your pre-built sales funnel today.